Alana McLaughlin, and she's talking about some of the activities that are involved in the commemoration of the 150th anniversary of the Civil War. Now, Alana, one of the things that I think is important, and you might be able to sort of give us some information in reference to, is some of the reading situations that you find in your ability to be able to deal with your reading. Do you have any problems reading, and what are some of the challenges that you see in your reading experiences?
Actually, I don't have any problems when I read. The only problem I have when I read is I need focus. Just put all my attention on the book that I'm reading. Just put all of them. Because see, when I'm reading to the class, I have to put my eyes on the book, and I have to concentrate and face them, and just really give my concentration to the book or the story. Or
do you read to the class often in your school experiences?
Yes and no, because sometimes we share, because we write in our writer's notebooks, and sometimes we share those stories, and we do that pretty often. So I think yes, we do share often.
And so with what we're saying about in the Civil War here, you will be able to go back to your school and talk to some of your friends about this Civil War and about Harriet Tubman. And what would you tell them about Harriet Tubman from what your experiences are?
Well, when I go back, I would go to some of my friends and say, hey Trinity, hey Alicia, hey Bernicia, let's talk about the sesquicentennial or the 150th anniversary of the Civil War. And they would know completely what I mean, because they're pretty smart girls. Like from Trinity Owens to Alicia Kay to Bernicia Lake, they're all like my friends, and they're pretty smart like me.
They're still all smart, and they're all into the Civil War, yes. And all of you will be able to perhaps know more about Harriet Tubman and some of these other great women who played a real role in the Civil War. Is that it?
Yes.
Now, what has your mother done in terms of trying to bring you about in terms of your reading ability?
Well, sometimes she takes me to the bookstore to buy a book. And then when I was in the bookstore, I came across this book called Among the Ghosts. I flipped through it, read the teaser, and said, hey, Mom, I want this book. So she said, okay, let's buy it. And so I got it. And then when I flipped to the back page, I noticed that Amber Benson was Tara McClay on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, and I was like, I watch that show all the time, and I recognize that face.
You recognize, and you know the characters, the author of that book. Is that what you? How do you happen to know the author of that book?
Because she started as Tara McClay on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, and I watch that show not often, but occasionally.
And so now she puts it out in a book and for children, to young children to read. And are there many books like that you know of?
Yes, because this is the first book I've come upon that I know the author. I've heard the authors like David Shannon or all that, but this is the first real book that I came across that I know the author from seeing her on TV.
Mm-hmm. And so you happen to know the authors of a number of books. Not only do you try to get the information, but you try to remember the authors and the series and stuff. And they've got a lot of series in your school?
Yes, they have a bunch of series like The Magic School Bus. I can know David, all the David books by David Shannon. All those books, they have a bunch of series of them, like science books, science takes. They have a bunch of series in my library.
And so all of you have an opportunity at a certain time to go to the library and read.
If we ask our teacher, we can go down to the library and pick out a number of books only if we return our books, because we have to take responsibility and be respectful of the bus because they cost money.
And so you've been quite respectful of books and responsibility, and going to the library and checking out books, and even in the third grade, you think that you can encourage young people your age to become involved in the celebration? We've got about 5 minutes. And involved in the celebration of this.
I can't make them understand because even though I'm smart, I can make them think like an 8-year-old because most of them are not, and I can make them think like a kid because I am a kid. I may know things that maybe a 13-year-old would know, but I still can make them think like a child because I am one. Because I have the brain of a child, but I have the knowledge of somebody very older.
And so you think that through that you can tell them, and that's what we want you to do by telling me what you're going to tell them, that you can tell them that they ought to get ready to celebrate this 150th year anniversary. Not celebrate, they say not to say celebrate, but to commemorate this 150th year anniversary of the war between the North and the South, that in a real sense gave Africans their freedom with the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, their citizenship rights, and the right to vote with the 15th Amendment. You think you can express that to them?
Yes. Well, most of my kids are into arts and crafts, so I'll say, hey, y'all, can y'all make a poster of the sesquicentennial, the 150th anniversary of the Civil War? And they be like, give me a couple facts that I can make it happen. I'll send them in some pictures, give them some information, write them down some cards. And, they can make a heck out of a couple facts and some cards. They can make the greatest poster you have ever seen. Because once we made posters on animals that we picked, I picked the coyote leopard. Somebody picked the American alligator, the meerkat, the monkey. But, yeah, they are into arts and crafts, so I can have them, make a poster and hang it outside that says sesquicentennial.
Okay, and so you think that as Tennessee prepares to celebrate over the next 5 years, next 4 years, I think up until 2015, from now until 2015, that Tennessee is prepared to celebrate in the state of Tennessee to celebrate the commemoration of this great event, and that both many activities took place in the state of Tennessee. You think you can get that across to them as well?
Yes, I can. Because, I can get it across them because I know the words that will make them think like an 8-year-old, but I have the knowledge of somebody older, as I recently said.
And so let me, as we get ready to wind this down, Alana, let me see if we might be able to sort of summarize what we are trying to accomplish here, because you represent what we consider to be the young person in a whole series that we're trying to create dealing with the commemoration of this great event. And we want young people to know more about the commemoration. And we feel that if you can deal with the young people and talk to the young people in reference to it, as you're doing now, they will say to themselves, well, that she's only 8 years old and she knows something about what happened, and so I can do the same.
I can, go to class and say, hey, Trinity, do you want to know about the sesquicentennial? And she'll probably say, oh, yeah, let's learn about it. And I'll tell her about Harry Tubman and what Bowser and Silvestri did. And, I'll explain to her, and then she can tell her friends and stuff like that. But, yeah, I can really get them to understand that, because it means a lot to me for them to understand that, because them being 8 years old and understand like that, by the time they're 13, they'll be understanding physics. It strengthens me to know that all the kids have the opportunity to learn about all the good stuff that comes with learning.
Very good. Alana, we've got about a minute. Let me, over this last minute, thank you for coming by and giving us that excellent information. And I think that even though we might have, in some instances, stumbled through it together, I think that the idea here was to simply give our audience an opportunity and give your young people an opportunity to know that this is something that, a commemoration that's important to all ages. And I think that when we go down to the 8-year-olds, it also indicates that all ages really mean all ages, because if your group understand more about the events leading up to this commemoration, then certainly the older individuals and older children will also know, and I think that we can say that Tennessee will have a successful commemoration of this great event. And of course, let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.